I believe in you. I believe in the power of millions of courageous conservatives rising up to reignite the promise of America. And that is why today I am announcing that I'm running for President of the United States.
Let's get this party started. Our guest was the 53rd governor of the state of New York who served 3 consecutive 4-year terms. He is at the moment reportedly considering higher office beginning in 2016, something which we may discuss before our time is up. Let's welcome George Pataki to MidPoint. Governor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ed. Nice being on with you.
Good seeing you again. Here we go with Ted Cruz now and all of the controversy that has followed his announcement. The one about Obamacare has everybody talking here today because here's a guy who basically wants to get rid of it, says it's illegal, says it's unconstitutional. Wait a minute now, Governor. Some people say this is a mistake. Could this really be nothing more than an absolutely perfect political ploy?
I don't think it's a political ploy. Maybe it is. I don't know. But what I do think is that Senator Cruz did exactly the right thing. You know, the fact that Obama and Congress rammed through Obamacare, the worst law of my lifetime, and made it apply to every single American and then exempted themselves and their staffs is wrong. And Congress, every member, every staff member of Congress should be subject to Obamacare, should be subject to every single law they pass that affects the other Americans. You know, I'm kind of tired of Washington not just being too big and powerful, but having one set of laws for them and another set of rules for us. We're all in this together, and I think Senator Cruz did the right thing. But I also think we have to change the law to make sure that this applies universally for everything Congress does applying to the American people.
Governor, I'm going to have to ask you about a statement you just made. You called Obamacare, quote, the worst law of my lifetime. That's an awful lot of years, and that's an awful lot of legislative years. Seriously, though, the worst law ever?
Oh, I can't say ever, but in my lifetime, I don't think there's been as big a law that has had as negative an impact. It has changed health care for every single American. I have a small business. We're paying a lot more, and it's not just me. It's businesses across this country that are paying a lot more. There are millions of Americans who were happy with their health care who lost it and now have to scramble to get on an exchange or get something else. And I believe it's going to blow out the deficit and impact negatively our ability to get quality health care going forward. And the tragedy, Ed, is that this didn't have to be done. There were market-based solutions to provide health care for those who didn't have access before. Instead, they blew up the whole system. I think it is wrong. I think it should be repealed. I think it's unconstitutional. But most importantly, I think we have got to pass an alternative and get this out of the way.
Well, let's talk about that now, because Ted Cruz said repeal every single word of Obamacare. Now, we've talked to a lot of experts who say the system itself is so woven into health care right now, it would be impossible to simply just repeal, completely wipe out, and then bring something else back in. Your opinion then, do you repeal, and could you really do that safely?
Yeah, sure. I dramatically transformed healthcare in New York State. We had the last Soviet-era command and control system where the health department in Albany decided what every healthcare provider could do across the state, and we replaced it. And people said you couldn't do it. We replaced it with a market-based system. You have to do it simultaneously. You can't just take one away and not have the alternative, but the alternatives exist. And in my view, the alternative including some parts of Obamacare, dealing with pre-existing conditions, not letting insurance companies drop people after they've provided coverage for years as they get more elderly. There are some provisions we should renew, but we should do it in a way where we take Obamacare, throw it on the ash heap of history, and pass a new comprehensive health law that used market-based initiative, individual decision-making as a basis to provide quality health care to all Americans. And then just one last thing, President Obama today is talking about limiting expensive procedures. Many of those to lower cost, many of those procedures are essential for people's health. The problem is not those procedures. The problem is this president and the Democrats in Congress have done nothing to get rid of junk lawsuits so that too many tests are being ordered, not because they're not a good test, but to protect the doctor against getting sued. If we got that change made, we could lower the cost of health care, improve the quality, have greater access to physicians, and do it very quickly.
All right, Governor, I'm going to ask you to stand by just a couple of moments here because we have to take a break and come back. And when we do, Ted Cruz says he's going to run for president. And what comes out of the woodwork? Republicans everywhere who are slamming away at one of their own. What's with all this infighting here, and is this going to help anything come 2016? And oh yeah, we mentioned this a couple of moments ago. Then there is the word, the group, evangelicals, and their importance to the GOP come 2016. That and much more coming up on MidPoint.
We have very, very complex issues facing the country today, and he goes out of his way to oversimplify. For instance, to say that Obamacare, we could end Obamacare in effect by not funding it and shutting down the government is absolutely wrong. That's a wrong signal to send. We need intelligent debate in this country. Now, Ted Cruz may be an intelligent person, but he doesn't carry out an intelligent debate.
Welcome back to MidPoint, and also welcome back the former governor of the state of New York, George Pataki, joins us. All right, Governor, that was Representative Peter King going off on Ted Cruz just the other day, a guy with a big mouth, no results. He doesn't get any results. He threw the Republican Party over the cliff. All right, Governor, I'm going to give you your chance right here. Did Peter King get it right?
You know, it's always disappointing to me when we see Republicans shooting at each other. I think we all understand we have to change the failed Obama, Hillary Clinton policies and replace them with policies that reduce the size and the power of Washington, and they're playing by one set of rules while the American people are governed by other rules. I think Peter King shares that philosophy. I think Ted Cruz shares that philosophy. Let's focus on our policies, our initiatives, taking back the government from the forces of big government knows all, knows best. That, to me, is what we should be doing. I don't want to see us shooting at each other.
If we do that, though, Governor, and you're right, many people would say time to stop the infighting then. Should Representative King and other people like him be taken to the verbal woodshed here because they're bringing this fight right out here in the open? Doesn't help anybody.
You know, he's an elected official. People can say what they want to say, but I'm a believer in Ronald Reagan when he said the 11th commandment, you know, we're all on the same side. We're trying to reduce the size and the power and the intrusiveness of government. Let's focus on our ideas, our vision, our record, our ability to change this country, as opposed to shooting at each other. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton having separate rules, having her own email server, probably violating enormous major rules, State Department rules. Let's focus on them instead of us if we want to be critical.
Let's focus on one group of people, too, here in America, the evangelicals, if you will, those people who consider them that. Because undoubtedly, Ted Cruz went after them when he spoke at Liberty University. Rand Paul is now saying that he, too, wants to go after them. Governor, there's two lines of thinking. Some say you cannot get elected in this country unless you have the evangelicals on your side. Others say you can't get elected if that's all you have on your side. Where do you fall?
You know, my position on that is that you want to have as broad a coalition of people who share your philosophy. And, you know, I hate it when the Democrats are trying to empower Washington by pitting one group against another, saying you have to have this group, or this group are victims who have to be protected by this all-powerful government. People of faith matter greatly to this country, and they certainly matter to any election, particularly for a Republican. Evangelicals, Catholics, Jewish voters who care greatly about America and about Israel. You have to put together a broad coalition, including everyone who understands that our freedoms don't come from some leftist group in Washington deciding what we can do. They're our God-given right to live and make decisions as we choose in America. And that includes evangelicals. It includes, I believe, the vast majority of Americans who should be helping us take this country back from Hillary and Obama in 2016.
In your opinion, then, does this then lead to some people who basically are lampooning the evangelicals, if you will? Basically, you mentioned the left, the Democrats as well, saying that they don't count. Get that out of the way. They're not that important, that it's their fault that we have this sort of an opinion.
Oh, I think it's worse than that. I think there is an enormous effort on the left and among many in academia to just diminish Christianity, period. You know, that somehow it is a vestige of the past, when in fact a great many of us, including my family and I, and including, I believe, a majority of Americans, have a great deal of faith that we don't simply exist because some liberal in Washington gives us the right to live free. It's a God-given right to live in this great country and to help make make it better. So I think there is an assault on religion in this country, particularly Christianity, among the left, among the elites in academia, and all of us have to stand up and defend people's rights to have that profound faith.
Governor, I have 1 minute left. When will you announce whether or not you're going to run for president in 2016?
You know, Ed, I'm moving closer. I think we're going to have a great number of people, and it's a good thing for the party and for the country. I do, when I look at the future of this country, believe we need somebody who can not only win the election, but also can change the government. And that's not as easy as it sounds. And I know, having won 3 times in New York and dramatically changed the direction of New York State government, that I have that ability. So when you see the country's government headed in the wrong direction, when you believe in America, believe in the people, I'm far more inclined to do it, but I don't have a time frame.
15 seconds. I'm going to have to nail you down. Next 30 days, maybe?
I don't have a time frame, Ed. I don't know that the other potential candidates either. I do have a time frame. We have got to take this government back, restore people's confidence in themselves in this country, and that's November of 2016.
All right, Governor, we're going to keep up on you in this one because that is our job here in the media, to keep asking that question. Governor Pataki, thank you so much for joining us. I'll look forward to the next time.
Thank you, Ed.
Take care. A devastating air crash in the French Alps kills all 150 people on board. No distress call, and so far no explanation. The mystery deepens. MidPoint continues.